Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and welcome to another awesome game of StarCraft 2. This one's being played once again by Evil Genius's EG.IdrA. He is the green Zerg up here in the top left corner of Shakuras Plateau, and his opponent for the second game in a row is coL.CrunCher. He is the orange Protoss up here in the top right corner, and I do need to point out once again this is the current ladder edition of Shakuras Plateau, and there are no destructible rocks here, so these horizontal spawns not going to be quite as one-sided as they used to be. Both players actually get a lot of room to hang out in their base, and CrunCher looks like he is going to be on the move very quickly. Oh, it looks like he might be going for a Forge fast expand or perhaps a Gateway fast expand, but he is either way going down to that low ground by his natural, looking like he wants to take a second base quite quickly. So here he goes on over to EG.IdrA's base with this first scouting probe. That is going to delay his wall off, of course, because that pylon is on the low ground and there's a much wider ramp. He won't be able to just drop a Gateway and a Cybernetics core and keep all those lings out. He's going to have to drop a Gateway, Forge, and Cybernetics core, and probably have a Zealot or Stalker on hold position to keep any lings out in the early game. So let's hope he can get enough minerals to actually do that, and EG.IdrA doesn't get over there too quickly to realize that weakness. So CrunCher gets in the main, doesn't see a spawning pool, and says, hey, maybe I should go block this hatch like I always do. Will he drop that pylon? Just going to be a matter of moments. He's probably going to wait for a drone to show up and start, you know, spitting on him or clawing at him before he does drop that pylon to try to delay the hatchery like we always see out of Protoss players against Zerg opponents. CrunCher's sending a probe now to the low ground, going to gather his minerals, then come over here and probably drop that Nexus immediately. No, he's going to have to build the pylon first. Then he's going to save up once again for 400 minerals. Does not have a Gateway or a Forge started yet. He's going to drop the Nexus at the fastest possible time, so that's very interesting. 15 Nexus. There it goes. Wow, so CrunCher being very, very gutsy here with a super greedy build. EG.IdrA getting a spawning pool and his extractor in retaliation of seeing this pylon here at his natural, as we would expect. Of course, he doesn't want that pylon to stay there forever, so he's going to get some lings out to try and tear it down. There are the first 4 lings already on the production tab. Queen coming up as well. Forge is going to be the first building to start this wall off here for CrunCher. He's going to get the Gateway next. Cybernetics core going to fit neatly right between those guys, and I don't know if he actually needs a Zealot down here or not. I'm not actually 100% sure, so I'm not even going to say anything. We'll see in a moment, I guess. By the time EG.IdrA gets some lings over there, he'll certainly be able to test that wall out for us. But CrunCher probably wants to get this probe out of there. There he goes. If he just clicks one time, this ling might not actually be able to kill him off completely. I don't know if he'll get enough hits to actually kill this probe. He needs 3 more, but he is super slow. Doesn't have metabolic boost even started yet. He gathered gas all the way up to 80, now 84. It looks like he only has 1 drone on gas still, so he's not going to have metabolic boost started for a while. Those shields are regenerating. Wow, CrunCher just taking a detour. Now I think he probably is going to lose the probe, whereas otherwise he might have got it all the way home. EG.IdrA already knows what's happening here. He saw the Nexus. He sees this layout here at the front, and CrunCher actually not fully walling off here either. Oh wait, yeah he is. Okay, Cybernetics core going to plug the back. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if a Zealot needs to fit there either. This wall off just looks a little bit shaky to me. But CrunCher still has this probe alive because metabolic boost was never started. He does have 100 gas now and still hasn't started it. So it makes me wonder if he's going to wait for this probe to be killed off before dropping some tech, maybe a lair or a Baneling nest or something of the sort. You don't see Baneling busts that often against Protoss players, but with a weird formation like this at the front, it's kind of begging for it. You can roll some Banelings in there, get a million billion speedlings, and suddenly there's nothing defending the Protoss player from a handful of lings. Actually, a bunch of lings could stream in if he gears towards it right now. Zergling speed is starting. Okay, so he just sat on that gas for a little bit longer than he needed to. The Overlord just going to get out of there now, seeing this next cannon being built. And I would really like to see if something can squeeze through there or not. EG.IdrA taking a third base very, very quickly here. So right at the 6-minute mark, taking that third base. CrunCher has no pylons, no defense of any sort inside the main. He's only got 1 Gateway over here, just making a Stalker now. It can actually rally out the back and still be inside the wall off. I like that. The Cybernetics core here, of course, getting Warp Gate researched, but he does not want to spend any chrono boost on it, evidently. He's been using it on his probes, and he's actually ahead in harvesters as a result, 32 to 29. EG.IdrA slightly ahead in mineral count, of course, because he does not want to harvest too much gas at this point. He's getting a Roach Warren up now. That is a decent build against this wall off here, this fast expand, because roaches actually have a decent enough range where they can kill a forage, kill this gateway, before a cannon can actually kill off all the roaches. Overlords on either side of CrunCher's base going to get some scouting information if and when EG.IdrA ever sends them in. Third base going to be coming online here in just a moment. He's already transferring some drones over there to get that optimal saturation. Now we should see EG.IdrA's drone count really skyrocket here. 3 bases makes me think he wants to take this to a mid-game. He's not going to try just some 10-roach rush or something like that and try and bust down the wall. At least I don't think so, working off of 3 bases that quickly anyway. CrunCher does send the first stalker out, and he's going to snag 1 speedling kill. The other one just jumps away, leaps merrily across Shakuras Plateau back home. This Overlord definitely going to die, but EG.IdrA, of course, that was a calculated risk. He knew the Overlord was probably going to get taken out. Just the sacrifice to get some scouting information. He's not going to see anything in the main. Probably going to be happy not seeing anything in the main. But the Twilight Council is actually being built inside the natural wall off, so if EG.IdrA doesn't see that, he could be in a little bit of trouble as well. CrunCher most likely going for Blink, I would say, off of that Twilight Council. No real need to get into Dark Templar or High Templar this quickly off of his 2 bases. Yeah, here we go. 5 gateways being dropped all at once, and he did already have the first one here on the low ground by the natural, so he's going right into that 6th gate. He actually concealed it long enough that it could actually be successful. Usually if EG.IdrA sees a 6th gate, he will start to get all these roach upgrades. He does have a lair finish, but he hasn't started, actually just now starting roach speed, he hasn't started burrow or tunneling claws yet, and that is usually the proper response against the 6th gate. EG.IdrA just doesn't really know what's happening yet. He did just poke up there. Did he see the Twilight Council? Yes, he did. So at least he's aware of that now. He did build a Spore Crawler. Actually, I saw it on the production tab. Yeah, there it is. Thinking DTs might be a possibility. He's got a Spore Crawler at each base except his main. So CrunCher trying to trick him perhaps a little bit into thinking air or DTs might be coming along. There, the Overseer spots the lovely, lovely 5 gates in a row. Here come 11 roaches in that production tab for EG.IdrA. Stops building drones completely. He's just massing units here. He does not want this 6th gate to roll over him in the next couple of minutes. CrunCher actually breaking out of his base now, breaking down that pylon. Here he goes, starting to move out now. And Blink, is it researching? Yes, it is. It's about, 70% done now. I don't know, 60 or 70%. Dropping another forward pylon. Looks like he's just going to string these out across the middle of the map so he can blink back and be safe and do another round of warp-ins. Blink back, be safe, do another round of warp-ins until all of EG.IdrA's units are either dead or retreating, in which case he can just blink forward and kill whatever he wants then. Roach speed going to complete here soon. He's still building tons of roaches, 8 more on the way now. If he gets those tunneling claws and burrow research, this is going to be very difficult for CrunCher to deal with, as he does not have a facility, a robotics facility, or an observer as a result. So here comes the next pylon in the string along the middle of the map. 13 roaches in production right now. Let's just pull up the unit tab here. 11 stalkers and 4 sentries for CrunCher. 26 roaches already completed and more on the way. 58 harvesters for EG.IdrA, 49 for CrunCher. These blinks better be really, really good, or EG.IdrA is just going to overwhelm him. Look at that supply difference. 146 against 92. Only 11 minutes into the game. CrunCher's down by 53 supply, but here we go. Mass roaches scurrying across that creep. Force fields go down, trying to break apart all the roach forces. He does manage to do it. There goes a big blink. Focusing down at these lings first, and EG.IdrA not moving past that pylon, just takes his time killing the pylon first, so CrunCher could actually get some sick blinks in here. However, it's just mass roach now against mass stalker. I really want to use the unit tab this time around. 19 blink stalkers against 32 roaches, and I did say that CrunCher didn't have an observer earlier, but he certainly does here now, and it doesn't look like EG.IdrA's researching tunneling claws or burrow anyway. But here comes the massive blink micro out of CrunCher. We're going to keep all these stalkers highlighted and watch the roaches die one by one. 2 stalkers down, 3 stalkers down. Still quite a lot of roaches, 2 pages worth. Actually 25 roaches total, and a bunch more just showed up. So wow, he's at 33 roaches here against a much smaller force of blink stalkers. They are at 2-0 though. Holy crap, those upgrades are very, very quick. from that forge that he built way early on. So now if his blinks will stay consistent, he's actually dealing almost as much damage as EDRA does with a full concave, but he's got blink on his side, so he can get those shields regenerating. He can save the weaker ones. He's still not catching up in supply, though, despite all these warp ends. 98 supply for CrunCher, 156 for EDRA. Here comes another big engagement. CrunCher already blinking back. It looks like he's just grabbing 2 or 3 at a time, blinking them back off the front line. He killed a couple of roaches there and just decides to get out. Hydralisks being built now for EDRA en masse. He's getting that Groove Spine upgrade for increased range, just making nothing but Hydras right now. Roaches aren't going to cut it. He needs that improved range so he can still hit things after they blink. And man, this concave still looks really good out of EDRA, but now the Stalker count is getting really, really high. He's at 24 now as he starts to run away. 23, 22. Could just blink away again. Another round of warp-ins. He does have 6 gateways, remember, folks. And here come actually a few zealots as well, just so he can get that spending efficiency. He wants to save up that gas so he can do a big round of stalkers here in the next couple of moments. Zealots moving to the forefront. Blink stalkers, of course, going to blink behind the zealots, let them do their job, tanking some damage. But all these stalkers now being focused down still by these roaches. Blink begins once again, the circuit of blinks. All these lings being killed off in the front. Zealots getting focused down by the roaches very quickly. That actually bought CrunCher some time. Looks like 4 or 5 roaches died while those zealots were being focused down. But now it's all Hydralisk against all blink stalkers and a huge round of warp-ins. There's that round we were talking about just a moment ago. 7 stalkers warping in right now. 8 roaches being produced. CrunCher actually manages to strand one of them up on top of this cliff because of that observer, but here we go. That actually could certainly help him, as there are no overlords over here. The Xel'Naga Tower does cover that vision range, though, so Stalker not going to help any by being up there. Pylon just got destroyed there at the Xel'Naga Tower. Overlord goes down very quickly. Idra's not blocked. He's actually up by 72 supply. CrunCher sitting at 2-1 upgrades now. He was working with that forge this whole time. 15 roaches coming out, so it's constant, non-stop Roach versus Blink Stalker action. These Hydralisks in the mix doing a lot of damage for EDRA as well. Let's look at units lost, just because I'm curious. 94 units lost for EDRA, 38 for CrunCher, but all of them were stalkers. Here we go, another big concave from EDRA. Lots of Hydras getting in on the action. All the roaches still in on it, but the CrunCher upgrades actually looking to make a ton of difference here. He's at 2-1, doing 16 damage to these roaches, while the roaches do 16 damage back. But those Blink Stalkers, of course, can stay alive a little bit better. They have a faster rate of fire, and the Hydralisks really need to be doing more damage here. I can see them still just kind of wandering around here in the back lines, while CrunCher has essentially everything, still shooting at these roach front lines, still blinking back. Suddenly CrunCher's army value looks a little bit higher. He blinks forward. He's going to kill a lot of Hydralisks, but back off as the next round of roaches shows up. 130 supply for EDRA now against 106 from CrunCher. He was at a 70 supply lead just a moment ago. Now it's down to only 20-ish, 30-ish now. Kind of insane when you think about it. 7 Hydralisks in production, 8 Hydralisks, always spending that larva on Hydralisk and roaches. Haven't seen a drone go up in forever. CrunCher hasn't built any probes either, though, so it is just pure Stalker against Roach Hydra. Still, EDRA still working with more Harvesters off of 3 bases. I have to imagine he's going to get momentum at some point. +1 missile attacks about to finish here. CrunCher still sitting at 2-1, of course. Hasn't been researching anything in his forges in a while. He's just saving all his gas for more Stalkers, more Stalkers. He's already got a big upgrade advantage, so he's just going to sit on it and try and get as many units out as he can. Still a lot of great Blink Micro here from CrunCher, keeping his units alive. Even with a smaller force, he is able to do more damage. Hydra losing Hydralisks. Ruffle, this is such a joke. So CrunCher just kills off all of EDRA's remaining units, even though he's making 9 more Hydralisks. CrunCher was gaining ground with each little engagement. You see he did take a supply lead right there at the end, 104 against 103. And CrunCher evens up the series 1-1 here on Shakuras Plateau against Evil Genius's EDRA. The next game will decide who wins the series and who will win a point for their respective team in the ESEA.net StarCraft 2 Team League Grand Finals.